That's all right.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Max.
All good. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Well, being a kid in Australia, you want to be one of two things: either play cricket for Australia, or for me, it was trying to play AFL for Hawthorn. So, I just grew up doing both of those things, and I got to an age where I kind of decided to go down the cricket way. I was never going to be very tall, so I think AFL was going to be hard.
Yeah.
So I chose the cricket from about 16, and I've been lucky enough that I've been able to play it for the last few years at a state level.
Yeah. So what age did you stop AFL?
So I was probably 16.
16.
So I'd had a few years playing up in Canberra, and then decided to go with the cricket, and I was playing cricket in Canberra as well. But I'm actually from the coast in New South Wales, so it's about 3 hours away from Canberra.
Yeah. How would your oldest friend describe you?
Oh, that's a good question. I like to think I'm a kind of upbeat, joyful person. I feel like I try and be fun to be around. Don't take myself too seriously, and always try and have a smile on my face. I think just trying to be a nice, bubbly person.
Yeah. What are you most proud of in your life or your career so far?
Another good question. Probably. Still being so young, I don't feel like I've done all that much. I think it was a really proud moment getting my first cricket contract for Tassie.
Yeah.
So I was 18 at the time. I was still in high school. I was about halfway through year 12. So it was really nice to have my next year planned out for me after high school. Whereas a lot of people, once they finish school, they're not quite sure what they want to do. So I was really lucky in the fact that I was able to get that and got to move down to Hobart within less than a week of finishing high school. So I was straight into cricket. But I think that's probably to date, that's been one of my probably favourite achievements, I reckon.
Yeah. Now that we're on the topic, what was it like? What's it been like playing in cricket for Tassie? And yeah.
Well, point out the obvious that it's very cold. So I grew up in a coastal country town, so it's pretty quiet, and spent a lot of time at the beach and fishing and surfing. So living in Hobart has been really good because it's not really a big city. It's pretty quiet. You don't have to spend your life in a car. You can always see water wherever you are. So it's been a really nice lifestyle down there. It was challenging at first. Just meeting new people and trying to get used to the conditions down there. But I love living in Hobart, and it really feels like home now. I've been there probably 4 or 5 years, and I've been really lucky to call Hobart home now, and my family love coming down to visit me there as well. They really enjoy it, and it's a really, really nice spot to live.
So you got your Hurricanes contract last year?
Last year. I was actually a rookie a few years back now, where they take on a young guy and you get to just be around the group. So I'd had a little taste of it back then, and then it was a few years until last year, where I was lucky enough to I was Matthew Wade's replacement player, and then Darcy Short's replacement player. So I was lucky to be around the whole year, rather than just being in a few games that Wadey was away. So last year was my first year, and then after getting to play a few games at the back end, I was lucky enough to get another contract with them, and so I'm there for this year and next year as well.
Yeah, so you got a good 70 couple games in?
Yeah, yep, that was nice.
How did it feel being out in the middle?
Oh, it was awesome. So I wasn't actually expecting to play that game. I was there at the ground early, just doing a bit of red ball practice, just because you struggle to get some balls in around that time, because you've got to sort of make way for the big dogs and to stay out of their way. So I got to the ground nice and early and was just having a hit. And then about an hour before the game, the coach came up and said I was playing. So I had to then try and put the white ball cap on and start doing a few more full swings and trying to hit the ball harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. I was lucky because I'd given some tickets to my family, and they were just there just to watch a game of cricket. Really, they knew I wasn't going to play, and then they got a nice surprise when I was walking out to bat with Wadey at the start. So
So who'd you
that was
So who'd you replace in that game then?
Caleb Jewell. Yeah, the coach just last minute decided to give me a run, and yeah, it was a really fun night. It was the night before my birthday as well, so
That's always good.
it was kind of a fun little segue into that. But yeah, it was awesome, and it was a really good game in the end too. The Renegades came home pretty strong, and it was a really tight finish. So that was my first proper taste of Big Bash.
So who are you facing then in that game? The likes of we've been facing Cameron Boyce.
Yep, Boise, Muhammad Nabi.
Some pretty quality players in there.
Yep, Dan Christian, Jack Wildermuth, who is going pretty well at the moment. Yeah, so it was a good, it was a bit of an eye opener, but I was batting with Wadey a lot of the time, and he's unreal to bat with because he scores boundaries so easily. So the pressure goes off you at the other end, and it was cool just to watch him from the best seat in the house. Really, you grow up watching him on TV, and then in a few years you're playing next to him. So that was pretty surreal.
Yeah. So what's the experience been like with like George Bailey as well, and Darcy and Matthew at the Hurricanes, and even in Tasmania?
Yeah, it's been really good. My first year or two down in Hobart, it kind of took me a while for it to sink in that, as I said before, you grow up watching these people on TV, and then next thing you're training alongside them every day, and you get to walk out to the middle with them and play alongside them. It's a bit surreal. I think it's sunk in a bit more now though, and I don't know. You just feel like they're just another person, really, and they're really, really good to train with. You learn a lot off them because they're so experienced, but getting to know them just as a normal person rather than someone who sort of feels a bit superhuman almost watching them on TV. You just get to know them as just a mate, and yeah, it's a really cool experience, and you do really learn a lot.
Yeah. Who was the one you were most starstruck by?
Oh, I reckon Tim Payne. When I first came down to Hobart, he was kind captain. Of yeah. Well, he wasn't captain at that stage.
He wasn't even playing for Australia back then.
No, and he was barely playing for Tassie, really. I was playing second 11 stuff with him for Tassie. But I don't know. I just always remembered him playing for the Hurricanes, and him as a youngster playing for Australia. I just always sort of saw him as a bit of a playboy and a superstar. So seeing him in person, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he's the kind of guy who it doesn't matter who you are, he'll just joke with you straight away and make you feel part of the group. So yeah, from the start, he was kind of making jokes at my expense, really. I've had grey hair since I was about 17, so he was always making fun of me about that. And so yeah, he's just that kind of person. He loves having a joke and makes you feel like you're part of the group from day one.
Have you always been a batsman?
Nah, so I got picked as an all-rounder, more so for my leg spin, really. So I was bowled my leggies. That kind of got some interest from a few coaches and whatever, and that sort of got my foot in the door with it. But I've always batted as well, and I've always thought my batting's probably a bit better. But it's only been sort of the last few years where I've been sort of focusing more time into training with the batting, and the bowling sort of fallen away a bit the last couple of seasons. So it's just so hard. Leg spin's such a tough discipline, and the amount of time you've got to invest to that, like I don't have enough time to put into that if I'm trying to be picked as a batsman. So yeah, at the moment I'm definitely a batter, but yeah, I used to enjoy bowling the leg spin, not so much anymore though.
Will we see you ever have a bowl?
What's that, sorry?
Will we ever see you have a bowl in the Big Bash?
Oh, Not in the near future. Yeah, the other guys do sort of joke about it because they want to see me have a bowl, but yeah, I'm pretty happy just batting for the time being. Yeah, I don't know where they'd go.
What was your path to professional cricket?
So I got into cricket just playing backyard cricket with my older brother. He's probably 5 years older than me, 4 or 5 years older than me, and yeah, and I just, as you do when you have an older brother, you just look up to them. You want to be like them, and basically, I was just trying to do whatever he was doing. So I remember he used to play in the under-14s, and I probably would have been about 8 at the time, I reckon. And in the local comp back home, there wasn't a whole heap of teams, and there was always they were always struggling for numbers the other side. So I'd go along and watch his games, and the other team would be short, so I'd get to fill in for the other side and play against my brother. And there was one memorable time where I actually got to bowl to him in a game, and he smacked one back at me, and I dropped it. and yeah, dad and all the other parents thought it was pretty funny that I dropped my brother and could have had a chance to get him out. And so yeah, basically I just would try and be like him, and then eventually, yeah, just kept playing and got to a stage where the cricket at home, the standard wasn't great. So decided to play up in Canberra, and I had probably 3 seasons, 3.5 seasons actually, up in Canberra before I moved to Tassie. So Canberra was a really great place, sort of as a stepping stone to, one, get recognised, to hopefully get a contract, and two, just a sort of an entry into the next level of cricket, whether it be moving to a bigger city like Melbourne or Sydney and playing the stronger comps there. So yeah, it was lucky to have a few really fun seasons in Canberra, and then from there go into the state cricket and get opportunities with Big Bash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your goals for the next couple of years in cricket or in anything?
Just try and play as many games for Tasmania as I can. So Sheffield Shield games, one-day games, and also hopefully get some more opportunities with the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
So that's just basically on who can be the most consistent. So hopefully I can put some performances together, which allows me to keep getting selected. I'm looking to go over to England this winter and play club cricket over there. I played in Ireland a few years ago, and that was a really good experience. And I've always wanted to go to England and play, just as another learning curve and playing some foreign conditions.
Yeah.
But yeah, back when I'm in Australia, just trying to play as much first class cricket as possible.
Yeah. First X Factor player in the Big Bash. How'd that feel? And what experience is that
funny.
like?
Yeah, it's quite strange. Because we'd already had a few games before that where the X Factor hadn't really even been thought about.
No one's ever used it besides you.
Yeah, no. So when I saw I was listed as that, I just thought, oh, well, I'm just running drinks today. I won't be used. I got to the ground a bit earlier just to try and have a hit before everyone else got there, just so I could actually just hit a few balls. And yeah, it was lucky that I ended up hitting some, because yeah, we lost a few early wickets, and about halfway through the coach said, look, yeah, we're going to use you. So it was a bit of a mad rush over to the change rooms and get padded up. And yeah, and before I knew it, I was batting out in the middle with Colin